As the build-up to the Mouttet Mile on Saturday, December 6th, 2025, continues to shape the narrative of the final quarter of the racing year, the Overnight Allowance event over 5.5 furlongs, set for Sunday, October 19th, introduces two horses whose presence alters the competitive landscape. The first is Dothraki, a 4-year-old bay colt by Into Mischief out of Vanquished, who qualifies for the Mouttet Mile by virtue of having raced overseas since January 1st, 2025. Dothraki arrives with a record of 1 win from 3 starts, having secured a maiden special weight victory in the United States. His only outing this year occurred prior to his relocation to Jamaica, where he now prepares to compete on local soil for the first time. This Overnight Allowance start serves as a transitional step for Dothraki, offering exposure to the nuances of the local track and race day conditions. While under the care of Bob Baffert in the United States, Dothraki was part of a training regime that included regular gallops alongside Barnes, a highly thought-of thoroughbred. Since arriving in Jamaica, Dothraki has been placed under the guidance of trainer Jason DaCosta. His morning gallops have drawn attention, suggesting a horse acclimating to new surroundings. The second development is the return of Incredible Joe, a 3-year-old bay colt by Improbable out of Titanium Joe, who resumes racing after a 148-day absence due to injury. Trained by Adrian Prince, Incredible Joe enters this race with a record of 4 starts, 3 of which ended in victory. His debut resulted in a 1-length defeat to Nephew, but he followed that with a sequence of 3 wins, including a 58.3-second clocking over 5 furlongs straight. Incredible Joe's victories were not only defined by time, but by margin. In 2 of those wins, he finished well ahead of Supernatural Power, a horse who later placed 4th in the Gold Cup. The gap in those races, 23 lengths, offers a reference point for the level of dominance Incredible Joe displayed before his injury-enforced break. The quick galloper revisits the 4 races that have shaped Incredible Joe's career thus far.
Now they're off and racing. Not a bad line, as Incredible Joe goes for that lead. Bowmore is right there too. Miss Grove is also in the mix, overtaking Miss Grove, that's T. Swizzle. Then comes running on to that is Jamrock Dreams, right there in the mix. That is H2O, backing out a bit, Miss Grove. Then comes Nephew racing back there. Ralph Treasure comes next, then comes Almastilis. Almastilis overtaking Flag of Victory. Then comes Amelata and racing at the back of the field. That's 1,000 Treasure. They passed the 3, and it is Incredible Joe streaking off about 4 lengths in front of racing second. That's Jamrock Dream. H2O watches them out wide. Coming on the inside, that is Nephew, but it is still Incredible Joe, still in front and traveling well. Incredible Joe with that lead, but coming back to the field as H2O takes aim right against the rail and coming on. That's Nephew, and now Nephew strikes the front from Incredible Joe out wide. That's H2O. It's Nephew in front and beginning to strike away. It's Nephew in front. H2O trying to get to Nephew, but Nephew tell him them ta-ta. Nephew goes on to beat H2O. Incredible Joe back in 4th. Then comes Jamrock Dream and Ralph's Treasure.
They're off. Bowmore comes away toward the far side with Almastilis stacking across. Way over on the far side, that's 1,000 Treasures in the yellow cap. Hamilata is showing some speed along with Ralph's Treasure. They race in the center. The favorite Incredible Joe is running quickly and may have that overall lead racing nearest to the stands. So Incredible Joe sets off in front, being chased up by Ralph's Treasure. On the far side, Almastilis. Shine Like the Sky now beginning to gather some momentum along with a Bowmore. Ralph's Treasure is also traveling powerfully, but it's Incredible Joe under a relaxed hold. Incredible Joe out in front and sprinting off, leaving this field in behind. As they approach the final furlong, it is Incredible Joe and the veteran Shane Ellis, the canterman, doing just that. And now he shakes up Incredible Joe, and they begin to stretch this lead. Incredible Joe will win by a huge margin, maybe double digits. Princess Chris has finished second. Shine Like the Sky is third. Bowmore is fourth. Rat's Treasure is fifth. They're off. Almost perfect start. Incredible Joe gets a great one and dashes quickly into that lead. Rico chasing. Toward the outside, American Aviator. Supernatural Power now finds her legs and begins to edge closer as they leave the 5. Firecracker racing second from the back. And last of them all, that's Riches to Rags. Incredible Joe attempting to steal it early. Leaves the half mile with a commanding 4.5 length lead. Supernatural Power now wound up and gets going. Rico back into second, rather third. American Aviator is running in fourth as they string out. Firecracker second from the back, and Riches to Rags remains at the back of the field. But Incredible Joe is setting quick splits and has opened up a huge lead. Supernatural Power now going in chase. Incredible Joe trying to steal it at the top of the lane. Looks to have an 8 or more length lead. Supernatural Power now lugging down against the rail, but Incredible Joe is running incredibly well. They race to the furlong pole. It is Incredible Joe out in front. Supernatural Power not able to make any gains. They flash inside now the final 16th, and it is Incredible Joe and Dick Cardenas. This is the American Women's Group of Jamaica Trophy, and Incredible Joe with an incredible performance wins by 9 or more. Supernatural Power second, Rico third. Riches to Rags is fourth. They're off. Fearless Mission misses it, gives the rest a jump. As they make their way down the back stretch, Incredible Joe out in front, Supernatural Power a length and a piece back in second and chasing. A break opens up to Blue Sensation as they leave the 6, and last of all, it's a Fearless Mission as the match race evolves up front. They're coming toward the 5, Incredible Joe out on that lead, Supernatural Power still needs to find a length and 3/4. A huge gap opens up to Blue Sensation outclassed, so too a Fearless Mission. The front 2 runners have left the half mile, the rest not there yet, as Incredible Joe continues to stretch out on that lead and now opens up some 3.5 lengths maybe. Supernatural Power is under the pump by Radish Roman and chasing as they slip past the 3. Forget Blue Sensation and a Fearless Mission as they're about to come to the top of the lane. It is Incredible Joe out in front and extending the lead. Supernatural Power, the filly now trying to close up, but Incredible Joe looks strong on that lead and is actually traveling under the hand ride as they leave the 3/16th. It is Incredible Joe lengthening strides now. Supernatural Power has no answers, and it looks as if Radish Roman has had enough and is now accepting defeat as Incredible Joe will come roaring away. This is an incredible performance by Incredible Joe. One to watch. Incredible Joe wins by double digits. Supernatural Power is second. Blue Sensation is third. Fearless Mission is fourth.
This overnight allowance is not about titles or declarations. It is about observation. Dothraki's first local start will reveal how much of his overseas foundation translates to the Jamaican circuit. Incredible Joe's return will show whether the form he once displayed remains intact after injury. The race will not settle the Mouttet Mile picture, but it will sharpen its outline.